Hey guys, welcome to our high intensity interval training Budokon style. What this class will look like is a little bit of a warm up going through the movements that we will be doing for our high intensity interval training. And what this will look like is there will be 4 movements done 2 times. So 8 rounds total. We will do 30 seconds of hard work followed by 15 seconds of rest and recovery. So this will be very high intensity, very fast paced. Make sure you have your playlist ready to energize you and fuel you through this practice. So let's go ahead and dive right into our first of our 4 techniques for this practice. Our first one is called a controlled frog hop. So beginning in downward facing dog, we will warm up the back line for a moment. Go ahead and stretch it out from side to side. Spread out through your fingertips. Grip down into the mat. Pedal out your heels. Go ahead and pause this video if you have not warmed up into your wrists. That's always a good thing to do before entering any kind of movement practice where we'll be on our hands. So just take a moment to settle in here. And our first movement will look like hovering our knees to the ground, gazing forward, and hopping the feet into an active squat at the top of the mat. And then pressing strong into the upper chunk and hopping ourselves back and being very gentle here with that landing. So as we hop up and hop back, we land with bent knees always, to find this little spring to bring you back forward into this active squat. All right, I want you to press strong into your hands the whole time and really work into this active range of motion in the hips as we hop forward into this active squat. Moving on to our next exercise, which is a dolphin to chaturanga transition. So basing our hands, stepping back into a downward facing dog, lowering down onto our forearms. Let's establish this for a moment. Finding extension through the back of the legs, pressing strongly into the forearms and the elbows to melt the chest in between the window of the arms. Now your heels don't need to touch here. It's okay if they're lifted pretty high. For the most advanced version of this exercise, we will shift forward into chaturanga. So it's a rocking forward into chaturanga position, strong 90-degree angle here. And then shifting back into our dolphin. So essentially shifting forward to rock, forward and back. If this feels impossible to you, no worries. So let's establish more of an active child's pose with the toes curled under and our forearms based. We'll just simply rock forward into chaturanga with our knees based, shifting forward here into chaturanga and back, shifting forward and back. See if you can spread out through your fingertips and shift your shoulders even further forward. You're still going to get a good workout in for these muscle groups, even if those knees are not lifted. Another option is to always return back to the knees, but maybe as you shift forward, you can lift the knees for a moment, then bring them down and shift back. So this action. And notice here, I'm not sinking my shoulders down. I really want to maintain this 90-degree angle on my elbows and just simply rock forward and rock back rather than snaking forward and snaking back. Okay, it requires a little more engagement and recruitment of muscle, but I want you to actively and intentionally move through this. So even if you do less in your round, I want you to do the more quality over the quantity. So just to review here, we have the shifting forward and back, or having the dolphin to shift forward and back. At any time, at any position, you want to try to find the full expression. You can always lower the knees down to shift forward, Maybe you can shift back nicely and easily, but you want to come down to shift forward, or likewise, as you go back, find your full expression of dolphin and then lower the knees down at any time. Right, we have lots of options for this exercise. Moving on to our third exercise, it is a leaping leopard. From one side to the other, 180-degree hop. So what this looks like, active squat facing one direction on your mat, basing the hands all the way down to the ground to touch the earth. Big press. What we will do is hop 180 degrees, turning to land in a active squat on the opposite side. Always landing with bent knees, always pressing the ground away, and even finding this roundness of the back, even pointing through the toes. As you hop, you obviously land in reverse order here, finding this nice active back line once more as you land. So just playing with these for yourself for a moment to feel it out. We'll press the ground away, spring up, point through the toes, and land. Just make sure you turn to see where you're going. We're turning over the shoulder. Make sure you turn over each shoulder here. All right, moving on to our last exercise for this. We will find ourselves in an upward facing dog. Now here, this one's a little tricky, especially if you have a tendency to dump into your lower back. So let's all begin with our knees down in more of a tabletop position. Curl your tailbone forward. Draw your pubic bone towards your navel to find this posterior pelvic tilt. Now, as you shift forward into more of a upward facing dog architecture, keep the pelvis tucked in, the core is nice and engaged in this position. Opening up a little bit more across the chest, but keeping that core active. This will prevent us from dumping into our lower backs and really just finding this opening, but we really want to maintain that architecture and integrity of our spine active in this space. So, from this nice active upward facing dog, you can have the knees down as a regressed version, and the movement will be this little cinch of the core. And the core is never released. We just open up a little bit more through our upper trunk and then really find this extra cinch here. So it's a big core movement, but we're also not sinking in the shoulders. And think about depressing the shoulders away as you're dipping the hips down, and then find this nice protraction and engagement of the core as we press up. So the more advanced version, if you can maintain the core integrity here, will look more like the knees lifted, hovering in this upward facing dog, keeping the core engaged, drawing everything in for a little cinch, and then back down to release slightly, but not letting go of that core so that you lower or dump into the lower back. So the cinch quality that will just move through here. All right. So just a quick recap of these 4 movements that we'll be moving through. The first one is that controlled frog hop. So making sure not to find too much float. I'm not looking for you to find any hang time. That's not what this is about. I would like for you to work the active range of motion of hopping into the active squat and then pressing back, catching your body as you lower down, finding that lightness of movement there. So, first one, controlled frog hops. Second movement, from our dolphin, we shift forward into chaturanga. And we remember that we can put the knees down at any time focusing on that 90-degree angle in the arms the entire time. Third movement is that leaping leopard, 180-degree turn from side to side. All right, and our last movement is that nice, strong core, up dog cinch. Really cinching everything up without sacrificing the integrity of our lower back and our core. So guys, remember that we have 30 seconds on of movement and 15 seconds of rest and recovery off. During that time, we will catch our breath and get ready and prepared for our next little set of movement. This will be very quick. It'll blow through it. Make sure you have that playlist on and ready, and let's get after it. All right, guys, let's get ready in our downward facing dog, establishing this position for a moment, waiting for our timer to catch up to us to get ready to go with our controlled frog hops to the top. And here we are, doing that work, finding that control, pressing strong into the hands, strong out of the shoulders as we hop to the top into that active squat. Don't give up. Work. Do your very best to do as many as you can with quality as we move through. Good. Stand up. Shake it off. Find your breath. 2 deep breaths in through the nose and exhale out of the mouth. Let's find ourselves into our dolphin here to shift forward. Chaturanga. Back to dolphin. Chaturanga. Your own pace. Remember, knees can be down. Finding that 90-degree angle as you shift forward and back. Breathing in through the nose. Strong core to support you. In through the nose, out of the mouth. Good, knees down. Sit back, shake out the arms. Active recovery. Breathing. Facing into our hands, let's find our active squat. Preparing for our leaping leopard. Here we are. One side to the other. Find that springing quality. Always pressing away with the ground, landing with bent knees. Yes. It's not glamorous, but it's good. It's good shit, guys. Keep it up. Woo! Stand up. Shake it off. Find your deep breath in. Exhale, release. And let's find ourselves in our up dog to cinch. Watching out for that lower back. Engaging the core. Find your breath. Use your sound effects. Oh, good. Work, guys. Take a break. Find your breath. 2 consecutive inhales in. Exhale out of the mouth. And back to our down dog. Controlled hops to the top and back. Find that squat. Find your rhythm. Keep the breath flowing in the nose, out of the mouth. Yes. And knees down. Sit back. Whoo, give it a little rest. Take your breath in. Let it go. All right. Chaturanga from dolphin. Here we go. Shifting forward and back. Rocking breathing. Remember, staying in tune, finding your integrity of movement, quality over quantity here. Good. Knees down. Shake it all off. Let's find our posture. Stand up. Preparing for our leaping leopards. Whew, here we go. Active squat. Press and turn. One side to the other. Yes. Woo. Stand up. Shake that off. Find your breath. Our last movement before we find some rest in our upward facing dog. Here we are. Let's cinch it up. Get everything you got. We're almost there. Good. Knees down. Sit back for a moment. And a seiza. Find 2 consecutive inhales through the nose. Hold it and then slowly let it out of the mouth. You can continue that breath for a moment. Make sure to find your posture. Coming back to regulating our nervous system with our breath. Beautiful. Let's find ourselves into a prone position on our bellies. And we'll extend here. The right arm out to the side. Tenting the left fingertips. Left heel to sits bone. Peel over to one side. And reach the right toes for the ground. Again, focusing on the nervous system. We'll see how long you can lengthen through the exhales. Allowing the body to fully relax. Begin to let go. The battle is over. Slowly peeling back to the mat, replacing yourself, extending the left arm out, drawing the right hand in. Left heel to sits bone, peel yourself over to the side. Maybe base the foot. In this stretch, you can always walk your fingertips higher up of that extended arm. If you want a little more stretch, you can walk the hands down towards your body. If you need to back off intensity. Slowing everything down. Noticing where your mind goes whenever it slows. And slowly replacing yourself back onto your belly. Let's reach the right arm in front of us and find our right side body to flip ourselves over onto our backs in a supine position. Grab the inner or outer edges of your feet. You can go for a happy baby here or extend one leg or both legs.
simultaneously into a supine straddle. Sending your breath in nice and deep. Soften the parts of the body that don't need to be engaged here. So your face, your jaw, your neck, your entire head, your belly button, your toes. And drawing the legs into a little ball here, you can find any supine twist of your choice. I'm going to go for a concho's twist here. So what that looks like is shifting both of my hips over to this left side, extending my right leg across my body for my left hand to reach for the outer edge of that foot. Maybe you can stay here, finding this nice length across the outer right leg. Or if you want a little more, you can reach the right hand for the top of the left foot for a little extra quad stretch. Call this concho's twist. Yes. Taking a few breaths to melt into this space, taking any wiggles, of course, that you need to surrender. Sending the breath in deep to soothe and rejuvenate the body. One more deep breath in. Exhale to release, bending the knees back in through center. You can rock it out for a moment and begin to transition to the opposite side. Extending left leg across the body. The right hand reaching for the outer edge of that foot. Maybe the left hand can reach for the bottom right foot. Finding this concho's twist position, or just finding a simple supine twist, lowering both knees to one side. And take one more deep breath in here. Exhale, surrender it down completely. Release the knee binds very gently, allowing the legs to expand out onto your mat, expanding in all directions with all your limbs, and allowing yourself to soften. Thank you so much for joining me. Feel free to stay here as long as you need, and I'll see you tomorrow for our next practice. Us and namaste.